Hi there, founders. Welcome back to another episode of Founderama. Okay, so in yesterday's episode, we spoke about fear of failure, right? A very, very deep topic. And when I was talking about fear of failure, one of the causes of that fear of failure, I said, was the feeling of self doubt, almost imposter syndrome, right? And I said that I will make another video on that. And here it is. So today, we're talking about the imposter syndrome and overcoming imposter syndrome as a founder, right? Now, if we can reframe failure as a stepping stone to success, then imposter syndrome can be taken out. Now, imposter syndrome is a common issue that affects many entrepreneurs, leading them to doubt their achievements and fear being exposed as a fraud. We will discuss strategies to help you conquer self-doubt and overcome imposter syndrome so you can confidently pursue your startup dreams. Okay, so what is imposter syndrome? Let's define it first. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which individuals doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Okay, so accomplishments. So you may, let me just give you a simple example. You may be a consultant making, I don't know, you charge $1,500 for an hour of consulting, right? So of course, there's a little bit of work up front. You do that work, you get on a call, a Zoom call with a client, and you spend 60 minutes consulting, you advise, all that. And then you may feel that actually you're charging a lot and that the things that come naturally to you, easy things, you just talk about them and you come up with these ideas and then you're charging $1,500 an hour. That is an example of feeling like an imposter syndrome, right? How does it manifest? Founders experiencing imposter syndrome often feel undeserving of their success and struggle to internalize their achievements. So this happens a lot. Maybe not at the beginning of the founder's journey, but it does happen, especially once they have received their pre-seed or seed funding. I've seen this happen a lot. I've seen it happen, and it can be soul crushing. It can lead to, it can lead to trouble if you're not careful, if you're not managing it. In fact, that's why I am working on something called as a passion project, which is also part of the Founderama community network, which is launching next month. It is to help founders overcome this and to be much more effective. What are the consequences? They can hinder growth, limit opportunities, and negatively impact mental health. Absolutely. And I've had this. I've had this back in the day. 2014, 2015, 2012, we've had a major disaster of a business, one of the businesses that I owned, that I still own at this time. It crashed almost, in fact, it took everything down. And at that time, fast forward 2014, 2015, we were doing so well. We almost going to be hitting back the $1 million in revenue. And I used to have this imposter syndrome because I felt it came easily, but it didn't, right? I went through my challenges and all that. And it was hindering growth. It was limiting the opportunities because I was thinking, oh my God, there was a failure. This is coming easy. This might fail again. So yeah, and it did have, negative impact. And so you got to be careful with this. Let's look at the causes of imposter syndrome, right? High expectations, just like with causes of fear of failure. Setting unrealistic expectations for ourselves can make these feelings of self-doubt and imposter syndrome 100-fold. So manage your expectations. I'm not saying don't have big visions and all that. I'm not saying that. Have those, but also make sure that you are not overcome with self-doubt. Don't let it take over. And also your expectations, be realistic. Have realistic goals, realistic expectations. Perfectionism, yes. The pursuit of perfectionism can lead to a constant feeling of inadequacy and contribute to imposter syndrome, right? And comparing ourselves to others can make us feel less accomplished and fuel self-doubt. This is very important. If we're comparing ourselves to other successful, or, we may have peers who may seem to be doing a lot, and you go to their LinkedIn feed and you're looking at it and they're talking about deals they're closing, they're talking about opportunities they're converting, they're talking about signing on $1 million clients. Look, don't compare. Only compare to yourself as you were yesterday. That's all. That's all I do. How was I yesterday? Am I better than yesterday? If I'm better than yesterday, that's all it matters, right? That's all it matters. So, yeah, okay. Recognizing imposter syndrome. So, what are the common signs of imposter syndrome? The things like self-doubt, of course, fear of failure, which we talked about yesterday, difficulty accepting praise, and a tendency to downplay achievements. So, if you feel like as a founder and you're making little progress, but you're not able to take praise, if someone says, "Wow, you're doing so well," and you're like, no, if you're feeling that kind of mindset, then yes, it is a sign of imposter syndrome. And people might say, "Well, you know what? It's not really going to hurt me. I'm being humble." Well, being humble is different from having this, where you're not able to accept any praise internally because you think that, either this is going to fail or you're not too good, all those things. So you got to really look at these signs and turn that kind, you got to reframe them, right? So that you're now looking at fear of failure as an opportunity to learn. You're embracing that. So that's off the list. Self-doubt. Listen, everyone, the Einstein was a straggler in school, in college. He was back of the class. Okay, so you know what I'm saying. Impact on founders. Imposter syndrome can affect decision making, relationships, and the overall well-being of founders. So right now, as a founder, do you know what is the biggest kind of tool or the source of success? Is your mind, the state of your mind, how you're feeling. Very important. It's not hokey, man. It's not, touchy-feely. No, it's not about that. It is about the reality. Our mind manifests everything, right? Everything in this world comes from our mind. Your business came from your mind. What's happening every day comes from your mind. You and of your team members, right? Everything comes from our minds. So why not? Why shouldn't we be careful in making sure that our mind is right? So this is very important. By understanding this, you keep that, right? So the well-being is important. All right. How do you acknowledge your achievements? You start by celebrating successes. Take time to recognize and celebrate your accomplishment, both big and small, to help internalize your achievements. Now, it's not about just feeling proud and arrogant for every little achievement. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you need to celebrate. Celebrate doesn't mean, just drinking or spending money. No, celebrate by, taking a walk. Yes, I do that. Meditation. If I close a big deal, the first thing I do is I actually sit down and meditate 20 minutes, half an hour. Why? Because, look, I know, and I've traversed this kind of dimension. I've been there, right? I know that these are all, it's not really real. Failure is not real. Success is not real either. So yes, when I was younger and when I didn't know anything any better, I would jump up and down, and then I would maybe just go out and, have lunch or maybe a few drinks with friends or whatever. I still do. Don't get me wrong. But the first thing I do is just sit down and meditate. Why? Because I want to overcome this elation. Because elation, look, hear me out properly, right? You should be unaffected both by success and failure. If you jump up and down by success, then you will fall and cry when you see failure, right? So celebrating small successes, big successes, just celebrate it. Keep a record. Maintain a record of your successes and positive feedback to remind yourself of your capabilities when self doubt creeps in. So when self doubt comes, at least you can go back. Keep a journal, right? Or a Notion file or whatever. Note. Just use Notepad, note, whatever, notes, right? Date, success, failure. This little thing, I called this client. I put this pitch in. The pitch did not go. Why? This is what I feel went wrong. Lessons. Maybe the next time. Blah, blah. Okay. Accept praise. Yeah. Learn to accept compliments graciously and recognize that you deserve the recognition you receive. So accept it. Say, thank you very much. And I appreciate it. Don't go, oh, no, you're too kind. It's okay to say too kind, but there's also a psychological kind of a thinking behind saying you're too kind. Are they too kind because they're praising you for something you don't deserve? I say that. I use that all the time. I say, wow, you're too kind. Thank you for your kind. Well, thank you for your kind words is okay, but saying you're too kind, just say you're kind. Yeah. Yeah, watch out for these words, man. I'm telling you, words are important. They determine how you're thinking, right? Okay, cultivating a growth mindset. Okay, a growth mindset is very important, right? So how do you do that? You start by embracing challenges. View challenges as opportunities for growth and development rather than threats to your perceived competence. Because what is your competence? Look, you have a certain perception of your competence, right? That you can do this and this and that, or you can do this and this and that. There's also the perception of others. Sometimes you might think, some people think they're awesome cooks, but maybe not. I mean, I used to think I was a pretty good cook. I mean, I don't cook. I hardly ever cook. My wife, she's a master chef, but the 2 or 3 dishes that I made, I thought they were really good. Turns out they're not. Okay, so anyway, rather than look at challenges, so if I'm not able to do something, if I'm not able to close a deal or convince somebody, then I take that as an opportunity for growth and development rather than saying, oh man, I don't think I'm not good at pitching at all. No, everybody is good at pitching. Everybody is good at sales because humans, we are natural salesmen. It's thousands of years of storytelling. That's how we have grown as a species, right? We grew by telling stories. I mean, some of the first kind of communication, if you go back all the way, hundreds of thousands of years, primitive cavemen, they were cave paintings. What was that? That's storytelling. They were selling something. They were convincing others of something, right? That at least what they saw, right? They may have seen, I don't know, an alien spaceship land, and then they're telling people in that rudimentary language, and people are not believing it. They put it down in the cave as a painting, right? So anyway, we are all awesome at most of the things we do, right? So focus on progress. Measure your success based on personal growth and progress rather than comparing yourself to others, right? So stop this comparison, even internally, and it'll also lead to less jealousy. Because if you look at somebody's accomplishment and say, do you know what? There is more to that story. That person must have really worked hard, right? And don't say they were lucky. No one is lucky. I don't believe in luck, right? That's why when certain things, I say, if you got this, maybe you're one of the luckiest people. When I say that, it's actually, I'm being sarcastic because there is no luck. There is no luck. Lottery winner, yeah, maybe, but that's, let's do a separate video on luck, okay? And I'll talk about what I think of this lottery thing and the people who have won that lottery. Are they lucky? We'll find out, okay? I'll do an episode of that another day. But stop comparing yourself, either good or bad, right? Don't compare yourself to someone who is struggling and say, I've done it, I'm better than them. No. Both are equally bad. If you compare yourself to others who are seemingly doing well and you're thinking, oh my God, how did they do it? I'm no good. I don't have the skills that they have. No, that's bad. And also you look at someone who may have a failure and you're like, I would have easily done it. No way, right? Learn from mistakes. Acknowledge that mistakes and setbacks are part of the learning process and use them as opportunities for growth, right? You got to do that. You got to learn from mistakes. And of course, you need to build a support network. Connect with peers. Surround yourself with other founders and professionals who understand the challenges of entrepreneurship and can offer support and encouragement. Founderama, hashtag. And that's what Founderama community is going to be, which is launching next month, right? It's going to be founders. It's going to be a peer-to-peer kind of network. It's going to be a community of founders and professionals. Of course, it'll also have experts. It'll have, and I'll be there, offering my 2 cents and helping you connect with not only like-minded founders on the same journey as you are, but also with investors, with experts, with family offices and all. That's what Founderama is. Seek mentorship. Find a mentor who can provide guidance, share their experience, and help you navigate your feelings of self-doubt, right? People who have already been there, done that. People who have transcended all these feelings, and they know that reality is not how you perceive it, right? Reality is different, and not to be swayed by the successes or the failures that happen, but just keep on with your purpose. People who have a purpose and who do things according to their purpose, not just because they're successful, not just because they're failures. You need to seek those people out and see if they will become your mentor. Share your struggles. Be open about your experiences with imposter syndrome, as this can help normalize these feelings and reduce their power over you. If you recognize that you're having these thoughts of an imposter, right? That you're no good, that, this is going to fail and all that, share them. Be vulnerable. Like, get into networks like Founderama, for example, where it's a safe space. These people are not there to judge you. And it's private, right? This is going to be a private club, right? It's not free for all. Share, because once you share, first of all, you detach yourself from those feelings, because now you put them out there, you put them on the table there. Now you step back and you're looking at it, and others are encouraging, they're talking about it. And as they all talk, that thing diminishes. It sort of becomes smaller and smaller, it shrinks. And then you just flick it like a speck of dust. Okay, practicing self-compassion. I touched about this yesterday, and I think this is a very important thing. It's not hokey. Be kind to yourself, right? Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend experiencing self-doubt. So what if your friend came to you and said, you know what, I'm feeling like that this is not going to last, man. I don't know how I came this far, but I don't think, I don't think I have what it takes. What would you say to them? Would you say, yeah, man, you're full of trash? Would you say that? No, you're going to say, what are you talking, man? You've achieved so much already. You're doing so well. You're in the top 1% because there's so many people out there who would kill to have what you have, to be doing what you're doing. You have a purpose. Focus on that. You would say that, right? Say that to yourself. Say that to yourself. Reframe negative thoughts. Challenge and reframe negative thoughts about your abilities and accomplishments, replacing them with more balanced and realistic perspective, right? So when you get negative thoughts and you're thinking that you're not going to be able to make it, you're not going to make that deadline, you're not going to get that pitch, you're not going to get that investment, you're not going to be able to pay your team or pay those bills. When you get those negative thoughts about both abilities and accomplishments, replacing them with balanced and realistic perspectives. First of all, first thing you need to say is, hang on, why am I worried? When is this thing that I'm worried about? Oh, it's at the end of the month. Okay, is it the end of the month now? No, it isn't. Is it that pitch now? No, it isn't. It's next week. So first of all, understand that so that you can detach from that panic, and then you can start to be constructive. Prioritize self-care. Ensure you're taking care of your physical and mental well-being, right? Go for that jog, go to the gym, walk, go for the hike, and then mental well-being. Okay, detach yourself from your issues. Spend time with your family, your loved ones, right? Or do something that makes you feel good. You love photography? Go out there, take photographs. You like hiking? Go into the nature, right? Scale that peak, that mountain, whatever. Set it up as a project. as this can have direct impact on your self-confidence and ability to combat imposter syndrome. Because if you take care of your mental well-being and your physical well-being, then you will start to lose those negative thoughts of self-doubt. I guarantee you. I've been there, done that. I do it all the time. Okay, embracing your unique journey. Own your story. Recognize that your unique experiences, strengths, and weaknesses have shaped you into the founder you are today. See, this is the most important thing I think you could really take away from this video, is that you got to own your story, right? You got to recognize that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's a unique journey, right? And everyone has their own unique journey. Like, look, even people traveling on a single train or a flight or a bus, right? Even in a car, each one has their own kind of version of experience. So imagine, okay, if that's happening in a flight that is actually one single container, everybody's sitting there flying at exactly the same speed, and imagine how life then, right? Where did you come from? What was your childhood like? What were your parents like? What kind of a place did you grow up? What kind of education did you get? What kind of opportunities presented themselves to you? What kind of a peer network did you have? What kind of friends? Who did you fall in love with, right? What kind of a family do you have? What kind of a support system do you have? Imagine the permutations and combinations of things that can determine how your life goes forward. So you got to recognize this. The first thing is you got to recognize that. Second, you got to embrace authenticity, right? So you got to be genuine in your interactions, embracing your vulnerability and allowing your true self to shine. And again, this is not hokey. This is not some new age kind of mumbo jumbo. Oh yeah, talk about your feelings. No, that's not what that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for you to really conquer self-doubt and thrive as a founder, you need to be able to face your vulnerabilities, right? Put them on the table right there and stay focused on your mission, right? Keep your startup's purpose and vision at the forefront of your mind, using it as motivation and inspiration to overcome self-doubt. That is it. Your mission, your purpose, your vision, your core values, all these things. Now, I know, yeah, this is a very, very deep topic, but I think I've given you enough food, kind of mind food to think about, right? So reflect on yourself. Think through. Look at what you're doing at the moment and say, am I, of course, everyone has this imposter syndrome, right? Everyone. Even if you realize it, even if you try to master it, every single day, you might have that. And imposter syndrome is not just about the feeling that, hey, am I too good for this? Or am I having it easy? No, it's not just that. It's also the self-doubt. It's like saying, maybe this is not for me. Maybe, you know what, others are doing so easily. They've reached their $1 million. They've got funding, and not me because, first of all, I'm not good. That's what this is all about, right? So, okay, let me know your story, right? Share your story with me. And listen, come and join Founderama when it opens doors next month. And you're going to get a lot of support on not just the technical aspects of your startup, right? Like funding and scaling and all that, but on being a founder. That's why it's called Founderama, right? It's because it's everything to do with being a founder. And so anyway, I'll see you tomorrow in another episode. I might continue this theme and talk about something similar. But yeah, keep your eye out for Founderama launching next month. All right. So go forth and prosper till my next video. Take care.